Then there's a form that I had that had the consultant kit on it. So check out all these products. We use most of them today. And you can just pick up any one of the items: the knife, the manual food processor, the slicer, the batter bowl, cutting boards, measuring tools. So it's almost $600 in products for only $159. The best part is that by your second workshop, you'll have earned back the cost of your kit and put extra money in your pocket too. Plus, you will now get a discount on all your pantry packages, and you'll have access to the other recipe combinations. And then you just basically share a check. So for me, my check was $626.34, and this was within my first 6 months of business. So last month I did 3 to 4 workshops. I made $626 because at the time I hadn't even done a cooking show yet. It was just freezer workshops. Could anybody use an extra $600 a month for going out and having fun like this? That will pay for your monthly grocery bill and still have leftover spending money. If you try it for a couple of workshops and you don't like it, no problem. There's no long-term obligation. You can quit anytime, and you always get to keep all the products. But I know you'll get hooked on all the fun and great money like I did. And then to get started, just fill out this form and we'll order your kit tonight, and then we'll schedule your next freezer meal workshop.
So that is basically one of the commercials you can do through your freezer meal workshop. But again, I start with a normal show opening, just like we heard yesterday. You know, set their expectation, tell them they can host their own workshop or cooking party, and also tell them that we're always looking, you know, for people to do this and do freezer meal workshops as their business. Something I do to get, you know, to kind of get the word out about my freezer meal workshops is I do a drawing. And they earn tickets. So they earn tickets for posting a picture with their cell phone and tagging me on Facebook, okay? That is like the most important thing. That's how people are like, oh, what are you doing? Where did you go? And they earn tickets for signing up for the next month's workshop. They earn tickets for every $10 they spend. They earn tickets for booking their own workshop or cooking party, and they earn tickets for joining the team, okay? I also have a Facebook group for my freezer meal workshops, so whenever people are interested, I send them the link and they can be requested to add to that group. And I also have, under the files, I have a testimonial, so I make sure that whenever they're done attending my workshop and they've tested out a couple meals, and I ask them to please write a review. So that way when people join, they're not just hearing from me, but I can also be like, here, look, see what other people have said about it as well. And then, you know, I do 3 commercials during my workshop. One of them will be like a recruiting commercial like Lori did. One of them will just give them tips on how to cook their meal and frozen or thawed. And one of them, I kind of do a quick little demo basically. So I have a freezer meal already thawed out, and it's like a chicken something. It goes, and I show them it goes in the deep cover baker, the rock crock. I cook it right there, and then I just take the salad choppers and chop it up, because I do want to sell them on a rock crock or deep cover baker versus the crock pot. And we also have like a product of the month. So every month some kind of product is on special, maybe 10% off or a free gift if you buy the food chopper. Something to get extra sales after the workshop. And then the third commercial would just be just like at your show. You know, you can spend money, you can save money, or you can make money just like we did yesterday. And then you can have your ticket game, Stealing Hearts game, envelope game, whatever game you want to play. But treat it like a show, because it's going to keep them on check, and it's going to keep you on check, and it's less chaotic. But, you know, just like when you did your first show, the more you're going to do, the easier it is. Like, all my stuff is in a corner, ready to go whenever I need it. So I'm not like, it's literally, I just grab my stuff and go. I print out their menus and their labels, and it's super easy. I think that's it. Do we have any questions?
Can you do this as a fundraiser?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you could do it as a fundraiser workshop, and then the proceeds would go to the organization. Yeah.
Do you charge anything for the actual workshop, or is it just a pantry?
It's just a pantry. I call it a registration fee. So I'm like, you get all your spices and your oils and your seasonings. You get your address labels. You get a fridge chart. You get a snack and something to drink. And you get to take the leftover spices home. So someone compared to, huh?
Your expertise.
Oh, yeah. Someone compared it to those paint and sip nights, right? Where I paid $40 and I didn't get to take the rest of the paint home or anything, right? They didn't even give me snacks. So kind of compare it to something like that too.
Do you ever have people ask you if they can split their pantry items with their sister or friend?
Yes, I do, and I tell them that every person, there'll be some leftovers to do some of the meals again, but not a complete whole set, so they can't split it.
But if somebody wants to come together with somebody else and do their meals, split it up into 20, then I let them do that. Because they're gonna have them really quick.
Like it was a woman
Yes, then, yeah, they split it in 20 meals, so it's even more beneficial for them. And I do give out a price for whoever's done their fastest, so that way they kind of like speed each other up.
How many meals do you actually do at your workshop?
They do 10 meals.
10 meals?
Yeah.
Okay, and how many people do that?
I average about 6 to 12, depending on the month. And I keep track of them. I have a list of who's ever expressed interest. A lot of times they'll be like, oh, this date doesn't work for me now. Let me know about next month. I check in with everyone that's attended one if they need to come back and restock. Sometimes they come back every other month because they're doing 20 meals, so that'll last them a little longer. But the key's in the follow-up. I mean, you do have to be like, hey, I'm closing the orders. Did you still want to come? And a lot of times they're like, oh, yes, yes. Because sometimes they get confused. They're like, oh, the workshop's on the 25th. Why do I have to pay on the 1st of October? Because you want to make sure that the things come in time.
So do they actually have to have their meat cooked before they get there?
No, everything's raw. We have them, like Lori was saying, we have them prep the meat ahead of time and put it right in the freezer bags. Because I did it once without it, and there was like meat juices flying everywhere, and that was just gross.
Okay.
So that cuts down the time, and they literally, it's just, they sit their bag, their freezer bag in the little bucket with their 6 chicken breasts, and they just dump the rest of the ingredients in there, they seal it up, put the label on it, and they're done.
Okay.
So prepping meat just means separating it into
Yeah.
separate bags.
Yeah.
Correct, and once in a while, like the steak might have to be thinly sliced, like that's it. Yeah.
That kind of stuff, whatever. We did one as a team, and the other thing we did do is we set up like a cooling station, because we didn't prep the meat, but some of the stuff had to cook, and then you had to bag it. And so we actually set up a.
In the home office
one,
ones,
right?
yeah, I will admit, I've never done the home
Right,
office
right.
one,
So we set up a cooling station where the things are kind of cool, and then kind of repackage it, because put it, like, you have freezer bags, but then you put them in a bigger freezer bag type deal.
Oh, okay.
I have a question. How do people interested that they don't freeze their meat? They like fresh. Is there a way to do them and prep everything together, and then when they buy their meat, the rest of the stuff is done? Does it work like that?
I guess they could, right? Yeah. I mean, they could also,
They're like, oh, I don't freeze.
well, then they could just have 10 recipes, right? You could give them the recipes, and I would just say they do it at home that night and just add it up.
I've done that myself.
Have access to the recipes.
Yeah. It's just like a recipe, basically. They have everything ready, yeah.
And if they wanted to prep everything except for the meat ahead of time, it would just be like the meal starter things you buy in the freezer section. You would just have the meal starter and then add the meat at your time of cooking. Okay, so Donna asked me to share some freezer meal stuff because I had a very good freezer meal month last month, and I would say sometimes the best things come to you in the shower. I was having kind of a rough month last month, and I had this freezer meal workshop that this woman, we had rescheduled it twice, and she just couldn't quite get her act together. But her friends were very interested, but they were kind of complaining about the price. So she finally said, you just take this. I don't want anything else to do with this. Okay, I'll take this. So I invited her friends over to my house. They were still kind of, oh, the price. I said, I have a deal for you. I will give you a catalog. You go collect me $250 in orders. With that, I will give you your pantry back and you bring your groceries. So their pantry bags all went under the host under the host order, and their orders were the show. I had 2 over $1,000 shows from doing that last month. So if those people who push back with you on the price, offer them a solution. That was my own thing.
Can you just repeat that one more time?
I said, okay, they were complaining about the price of the pantry pack. It was a little more than they wanted to spend. And my deal for them was, you go take this catalog and order forms and collect $250 in orders for me from your friends, and you will get a free pantry pack.
How much did it cost you?
It did cost a little bit because they were really excited about that. And I had to put some under the 30% discount. But I mean, when you get into that and your commission, I don't think I spent any more than you do to buy a show. You know, when you're giving a brownie pan and a prize and a... Yes, ma'am.
So, what is consistent using a freezer pack? The spices and what? Okay, so you have all that ready.
No, they provide all the groceries.
No, they bring all the, this actually is my setup that I brought in for her. In that, there's going to be their spices. The pantry pack is what you're asking about, what I gave them.
Right, what you gave them.
There's spices and sauces.
Okay, right, okay. So only Pampered Chef stuff you gave them.
Only Pampered
That
Chef
was
stuff they
what's
gave
free,
them.
and the rest of the stuff so they were complaining about paying for the spices.
It's $60, and that's a little bit of a sticker shock when you say to somebody, I want you to spend $65 to $70 on spices up front. And then I'm going to give you a grocery list. And you're going to go to the grocery store and buy those and bring those. And some people, if they don't push back, hallelujah, take that money, go. But this is for people who are like, well, if it's 10 meals and they feed 6 to 8, I say 6 to 8 because I feel like, especially with the dinners done, they really do. And the soups, I'm going to say at least 10, because that's a lot of soup. And you can sell it that way, but you're still occasionally going to run across somebody who's going to be like, oh, that's just too much. Right. And I say, well, I don't know whether you've been down the spice aisle recently, but our spices are very reasonably priced. But if you can't, this is an option for you to come in and do this with me and earn it.
Right.
And I'm still getting sales that I wasn't going to get before. So then I booked 2 shows from those people. I was like, did you see how easy it was to get that $250 in sales? I think your friends must love Pampered Chef. So, and they have 2 November shows from that group because they were waiting for their friends to cool off a little bit.
Do you also, during the time that they're doing it, do you also make?
No, I do not.
Okay.
And I guess if you were not me, I know.
Yeah.
You're earning money there. You're helping them. And I would say even when I do mine, I also bring a helper. Sometimes it's a consultant who's trying to learn. Sometimes it's my 14-year-old son who, for some unknown reason, loves to grate cheese. Loves to grate some cheese. That child will grate cheese for 3 hours. iTunes card, and he'll grate cheese all day long. And that's one of the labor-intensive, and who hasn't used a cheese grater? Ours is great, but who hasn't used a cheese grater? See, Ben's over in the corner grating the cheese. Everybody keep going. Oh, and one other thing I would say if you're worried about tools, have them start at different places in the menu. All the recipes may use the MFP, but not everybody has to do that recipe at the same time. You are not the teacher. You are the leader. You're not going to stand up there and go, okay, now we're putting this in the bag. You're going to say, here are your recipes. I'm going to go around, it's just like a station style show, and help. I'm not standing up here lecturing at you, telling you what to put in the bag next. If you hit a spot and you have a question, let me know. Other little thing, the first time your guest does one, add a small, either this or the new small mini measure-all, because there are a lot of, and it's theirs, and they can bring it back to their next freezer meal workshop. If you do not have a lot of measuring spoons, add that to their first order. I mean, don't just add it, say, for your first time customer, there's a little extra added expense, and then you're gonna own this, and you're gonna keep bringing it back to me.
That's brilliant.
So, whether it's measurements, whatever you're low on.
I was just gonna say, I have everything, I do it a lot, and my team's really interested, but that's one of their fears. So I have mine all in a bin that they can come pick up and take and bring back to me. And I have several that use my freezer meal workshop
Yeah.
bin that they just use.
I have that too. I loan it out to my team. Or have them bring their 1 or 2 person, because
Yeah, right.
one person, she's like, I only have 2 people. I'm like, well, come on over.
Yeah, I
You
haven't
don't
done
want
that,
them
but I like
canceled
that.
because of 2 people. Because
Right.
those 2 people could bring 2 others the next time. You don't ever want them to cancel even if it's just 1.
And I always encourage them to bring a friend to help with prep. Bring your mom, bring your sister, bring your best friend, because things are always more fun with friends. And then generally that person wants to do it next time, or guess what? You've just met twice as many people as you were started with, and there, look at all those wonderful contacts we just added to our day.
Go ahead. At my last one, I had one, but she said during that she was the guinea pig for her work. They sent her to be the guinea pig, and then,
Then they wanted to do it.
yeah, so.
So, and I know there's probably some more tips in the room, but here's what I just want to ask you to do. So you see it's empty. Which means what? We gotta fill it, right? And I gotta tell you, the one thing I think that would be so helpful even for me, because I haven't done one of these, is if someone would just record one. And I know it would be really kind of boring, but for us to just wrap our heads around it, we just want to see, just put our camera up on the mantle and record so we can just see the flow of what's happening. You know, and I think once people see that, they're like, okay, got this. The consultant just stands there and watches everybody cook, you know? But do anyone else want to see that? So the next time, and especially if you're just doing one with a couple of people, that would be ideal. Or if you have a big group, just again, put a camera up on the mantle, kind of like what we did the other night at my house,